Hello, I'm Sophie, and welcome back to my Bible Weekly Reflections, when I talk about what I studied in the Bible this week, in the hope that it keeps me accountable to actually going through and studying the Bible, and hope that potentially it might help all of you watching this. So this week I've not actually studied that much. I found it quite hard. To start with, I went through 2 Samuel chapters 7 to 10. And this is a book I've been studying for, I must admit, it's been months now. I just am really struggling to get through it. But as a brief overview for the chapters that I did in it, Nathan got a vision from God about David and how David's throne is protected and his line is protected for the future. And then the next kind of few chapters are David going and kind of conquering lands, a few fights here and there, and basically the Lord protecting him. Which I know is a very simple gist of what's going on. But if I'm being honest, it just confuses me. The next one I read this week was Matthew 14. And in particular, I was studying the verses 22 to 33 when Jesus walks on water. And I believe this is a story that most people kind of know. But I didn't realise that Peter walked on water too. I guess I just hadn't actually read it for myself. But yeah, so the disciples are on a boat in a storm. Jesus is praying on a mountain on his own. And then after, I think, 4 days of them on the boat, he thinks, I should probably go help. And he walks on the water to them. And the disciples originally thought, it's an evil spirit. And then Jesus is like, don't be afraid, it's me. And then Peter asks for proof, which Jesus didn't have to give him, but he did. So Peter says, if it's you, let me walk on water to you. And Jesus did. Peter did walk to Jesus. And he couldn't believe it. But when he started doubting, he started sinking. And it wasn't until Jesus reached out his hand and Peter took it, he truly believed, and then he stopped sinking again. And only when the disciples of the whole truly believed, the storms calmed down. So I guess the message of that parable is have faith and believe, don't doubt. Yeah, I really enjoyed reading Matthew this week. I just hadn't fully paid attention to that bit before. And then again, the next one is also kind of a well-known story. Genesis 37. You see, I know it from like the film Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat. But Jacob hits Israel because it took me a minute to realise they're the same person. I'd forgotten, and yeah, but so he liked Joseph the most because he was the child that God had given to him in his old age when they probably thought they wouldn't have any more children. Joseph received 2 visions in this chapter, and he told his brothers, and they got jealous. Because not only was Joseph a favourite, he now had this gift from God. And basically, they plotted to get rid of him. Some wanted to kill him, others said, no, we shouldn't kill him, we'll just get rid of him. So they put him in a pit. They took his coat, they put loads of blood on it and made it look like, he'd been killed. In reality, he got sold as a slave, I believe. At least the film, he ends up in Egypt. That wasn't covered in this bit of the chapter. And his father's deceived, he believes he's dead, and he's really sad, understandably. But yeah, that's what I've read this week. I know it's not too much of a overview. Oh, I also read Psalm 85, but I didn't really write any notes about that particular. But it's just asking for mercy from Lord God. Yeah. But I hope you're having a happy Sunday, and I'll see you here next week.